Have you ever been fired from a job before? I know that's a bit of a strange question to ask at this point, considering millions of people actually quit their jobs last month. I don't remember the exact number. I saw it reported last week. Something like 1, maybe 2 million people quit their jobs in March. The media is calling it the Great Resignation. I love it. I think it's great. Employees instead of employers have all the leverage right now. Companies are struggling to find qualified candidates. For decades, companies have treated their employees like shit. What happened during the COVID when people were laid off from their jobs? They didn't just sit around and wait to be rescued, wait for the company to call them back into work. They figured out other ways to make money. I told you guys before, quitting my job and focusing on YouTube full time was the best decision that I ever made. Not one day goes by where I regret my decision. Now, it was a huge risk at the time. When I quit my job at the end of June 2021, I only had 2,000 subscribers, but I had reached a point where I was tired of being miserable. I was tired of being underappreciated. I was tired of being treated like shit. 7 years with the company, no raise, no raise. When you consider inflation, I was actually making 14 to 20% less money when I quit than when I started back in 2013. Not only did I never receive a raise, during the COVID, they actually cut our pay by $1,000 every month. I remember my last Christmas at the company. It was December 2020. I had damn near all my vacations still available. Everything was locked down that year due to the COVID, so I didn't take any vacation. The company, they didn't pay out your vacation if you didn't use it, so I used all 3 weeks of my vacation in the month of December. I took off the last 3 weeks of the year. And you know what? It ended up being a turning point of my life. For one, it was the best 3 weeks of my life in that 7-year period. During that 3-week period, I realized how miserable I was every day. And the reason I was miserable, I was waking up and going to a job that I hated, sitting behind a desk 8 hours every day, being underpaid and underappreciated. It was during that time that I made the decision 2021 would be my final year working for someone else. Now, my original plan was to quit the job at the end of 2021. But when I got back from my 3-week vacation, my boss showed up unexpectedly to my office. He lived 3 hours away. He was pissed off. The owners of the company were pissed off that I took off 3 straight weeks to end the year. He told me, "You are not allowed to do that again." In my mind, I was laughing. Who are you to tell me what the fuck I'm gonna do with my own time? But I didn't say that. I just looked at him and I told him, "You won't ever have to worry about me taking off like that ever again." I knew I was going to quit. I thought I was going to get fired that day. And looking back at it now, if I had been fired that day, it would have been the best thing that ever happened to me. So I ask you again, have you ever been fired from a job? The immediate reaction when most people get fired is fear. How will I pay my bills? How will I eat? How am I going to pay for daycare? But most of the time, not all of the time, most of the time, being fired is the best thing that will ever happen to you. We have a tendency as people to become complacent at a job, and companies take advantage of that complacency. Being fired forces you to find something better suited for you. I always say sports mimic society. Frank Vogel is expected to be fired by the Lakers today. By the time this video goes live, Frank Vogel may have already been fired. Coaches get fired in sports all the time. This isn't some major breaking news event, but it's the way this went down that has me feeling bad for Frank Vogel. It is an example of how companies, how organizations view their employees. They don't give a shit about you. The only thing they care about is, what have you done for me lately? The Lakers ended their season last night with an overtime win against the Denver Nuggets. The Lakers ended the season on a high note. Not only did they not have to deal with playing alongside LeBron James, they ended the season with a rare accomplishment. They actually won 2 games in a row. The buzzer had just sounded to end the game. And this tweet from Adrian Wojnarowski at ESPN comes out. The Lakers are firing Frank Vogel tomorrow. On his way out the door, they made sure to fucking embarrass him one more time. Now you may be thinking, how is this embarrassing to Frank Vogel? Well, he is required to attend a press conference after every game. Instead of answering questions about the game or potential questions about his future, Frank Vogel has to answer questions about this fucking tweet from ESPN. He was completely blindsided. Luckily on the way to the press conference, some good Samaritan notified him of this tweet, so at least he wasn't the only person in the room who didn't know about his own fucking job status. Watch what happened last night. I think Frank Vogel handled this brilliantly. I would imagine he was pissed off going into this press conference. I would have been. You couldn't wait to tell the damn media that you're going to fire me until tomorrow? You couldn't wait? You just had to tell them when I'm headed to face the media? Roll the film.
Frank, right at the end of the game, Adrian Wojnarowski tweeted that the Lakers are going to be firing you, a decision they'll let you know tomorrow. Have you communicated with the front office at all about your future?
And I'm going to enjoy tonight's game, celebrate what these young guys did in terms of scratching the claw and getting back in this game and getting a W. And, we'll deal with tomorrow.
Did that get back to you before you walked in this room?
Yes.
Did that affect?
I'm going to enjoy tonight's game and what our guys did tonight and the way we finished out this season.
They edited the part, or they silenced the part where Frank Vogel says, I didn't know shit about this. No one within the Lakers organization bothered to tell him that he was fired. He found out, just like the rest of us did, from Woj at ESPN. Jerry Buss has to be rolling over in his grave. The Lakers are an absolute clusterfuck. If I'm Frank Vogel, I'm celebrating being fired. The Lakers have treated him like shit. He has been the fall guy for the piss-poor decisions in the front office. Frank Vogel has been blamed because Linda Rambis doesn't know shit about basketball and LeBron James is a terrible general manager. Whose idea was it to bring in Russell Westbrook? Who wanted Carmelo Anthony? What a brilliant plan. Let's bring in 3 players who need the ball in their hands to be effective. You can win a championship with 1 ball-dominant player. You can't make the fucking playoffs with 3 of them. It just doesn't work. Like I said a second ago, sports mimics society. The Lakers' handling of Frank Vogel is a microcosm of how companies have treated their employees for decades. They treat employees like they're expendable when it's the people who make the company successful. Then executives will sit in their ivory towers and wonder, how come we can't find quality candidates to come work for us? We are offering a $2,000 signing bonus, and only 3 people applied for this job, and none of them are close to being qualified. Yeah. Good luck finding anyone to come work for you. People like me, college educated, 15 years of sales and management experience, people like me have figured out we don't need you anymore. We don't need your shitty health insurance. I can buy it cheaper from Blue Cross myself. We don't need your low salary. We figure out a way to pay ourselves. The Lakers should be embarrassed. They should be humiliated by the way they have handled Frank Vogel. But they don't give a shit. They don't care that they humiliated him on the way out the door. They're already looking for their next head coach. This organization was once one of the classiest in all of sports. In the span of 4 years, LeBron James has turned the Lakers into an absolute clusterfuck, a classless organization. It's being reported that during halftime the last couple of weeks, when Frank Vogel was prepping the team for the second half, multiple players were texting on their phones and ignoring him. That level of disrespect for a head coach, it starts at the top. Who's the leader of this team? LeBron James. He checked out for the season several weeks ago. The rest of the team followed suit. If I'm Frank Vogel, I would have been at LAX last night looking for the quickest flight out of Los Angeles and never looking back. You know, I'm also pissed off at Robert Horry this morning because he is going to make me defend Adrian Wojnarowski and ESPN. I don't like defending ESPN, but like I've said many times, this is not an agenda-driven channel. If defending ESPN is warranted, then I'm going to grit my teeth and do it. But I'm still aggravated with Robert Horry for putting me in this position to defend ESPN. Robert Horry is one of the co-hosts on the Lakers postgame show on Spectrum Sports in Los Angeles. After the game last night, Robert Horry, he didn't blame the Lakers for this bullshit. He blamed ESPN. Watch for yourself.
For me, I think sometimes reporters go a little too far. I hope the Lakers don't fire him so Woj can look like a b-hole. You know, because it doesn't make sense for you to try to tweet this out now. Who cares? You know, let's wait and see what happens at the end of the season when they have their exit meetings. You know, you guys can talk about it tomorrow or whatever it may be. But for Woj to come out and say this, for me, it's just not unfair. Because at the end of the day, have some integrity. You know, This is this man's life. This is this man's career. And I know it's your job to do that, but you don't know what's really going on. Yeah. You just getting, unless Jeannie call you and say, yo, Woj, we firing him. Don't tweet that.
Did he just tell Woj to have some integrity? Did I really just hear that? Number one, you already know there is no integrity at ESPN. But two, if anyone should be called out for a lack of integrity, it's the fucking Lakers front office. Woj was just doing his job. It is not his responsibility to keep this story classified. That's on the Lakers. Woj is the NBA insider at ESPN. It is his job to report news like this. He didn't eavesdrop on some private conversation. He didn't bug the Lakers front office and steal this information. He was contacted by a source within the Lakers front office who knew exactly what they were doing. They knew this would humiliate Frank Vogel. Woj took the information that he was given and informed the public. That's his job. That's what he's supposed to do. It's not his fault the Lakers front office is full of dumbasses. Jeannie has ruined this franchise. You have Linda fucking Rambis, making personnel decisions. What the fuck does Linda Rambis know about the NBA? The Lakers have turned into a giant friends club. Jeannie Buss, Linda Rambis, best friends. LeBron James brought in all of his buddies, gave them millions of dollars to suck. Then, when Russell Westbrook was being criticized by fans and the media, where was LeBron James? Oh, he stayed silent, wouldn't come to his defense. LeBron pushed to bring in Anthony Davis to play in 76 games the last 2 years. I hope that bubble championship that no one considers legit, I hope it was worth it. And then this morning, I see Anthony Davis saying, I still think me and Bron can bring another title to Los Angeles. I really believe that. Are you out of your fucking mind? You can't even get on the damn floor. How are you going to win a title? Not to mention the fact LeBron James is leaving Los Angeles. Clearly, Anthony Davis, sir, you are clueless. But let me know what you guys think. Give me your thoughts on how the Lakers handled firing Frank Vogel. Do you think it's a microcosm of how companies treat their employees in corporate America? Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys later.